Link has officially been sworn in as District 2 Commissioner. Find out her plans back in the Commissioner seat.
I'm eager to get back to work. There's a lot of unfinished business, so I'm ready to get back up and running.
And Athens-Clarke County Commissioners are deciding on several projects that could give some Athens parks a major facelift. And lastly, find out how one Athens nonprofit organization works to provide equity in transportation. All of this and more, live at 5. Better.
This is Northeast Georgia. This is Northeast Georgia's only local source for TV news. From the Grady College at the University of Georgia, this is Grady Newsource.
Good evening and welcome to Grady Newsource. I'm Cooper Camp. District 2 Commissioner Melissa Link was sworn into office last night. Grady Newsource reporter Olivia Wakeham was at the ceremony. Here's a look at what happened.
In front of Athens-Clarke County City Hall, where Melissa Link was just sworn in as the new District 2 Commissioner. The seat has been vacant since September when Mariah Parker, the former District 2 Commissioner, resigned.
And I have the honor and privilege of swearing in our newest county commissioner, Melissa Link, this evening.
After the ceremony, Link greeted a crowd of supporters in front of City Hall. She says she's eager to get back to work.
Our affordable housing crisis, I think that there's, I think we can get some neighborhood unity on some initiatives, and I'm eager to really get that moving. We are going through our land use plan this year, so that's a big opportunity.
Link is bringing about 7 years of county commission experience to District 2. She previously served as the District 3 Commissioner until Governor Kemp approved new commission district boundaries, which took effect earlier this year. Link was drawn out of her district and couldn't run for re-election.
It's been a weird and wild ride with the redistricting. That was really disappointing and chaotic, and I really think it was intentionally divisive.
When former District 2 Commissioner Mariah Parker resigned, Link had another chance at re-election. She won against candidate Karina Gallagher with 531 votes in the special election on March 21st.
Melissa's got a lot of experience that anyone else would take years to get, and I think now's a time where experience is really needed, so I'm really grateful that we've got somebody bringing that experience to the table.
Link says there's a lot of unfinished business she's excited to get started on. Olivia Wakeham for Grady Newsource.
Improvements to Memorial Park in Athens is moving to the design phase after Athens-Clarke County Commissioners voted on it last night. Grady Newsource reporter Clay Britton is live at Memorial Park with more details.
I'm here at Memorial Park where I'm currently standing by the lake, but that wouldn't be the case if we'd recently had a bunch of rainfall. Memorial Park is the lowest point in the 5 Points area, which means all the water from the watershed in 5 Points ends up here. The big part of the improvements project is to improve the storm infrastructure like the forebay behind me. The forebay is in place to allow sediment to settle after rainfall. In 2014, when the forebay was redone, the watershed was calculated to be 35% smaller than it actually is, which doesn't allow for the storm infrastructure to work as well and causes major flooding. I spoke with the Athens-Clarke County Director of Leisure Services Department, Kent Kilpatrick, about how they will address this issue. Here's what he had to say.
Not only has it negatively impacted the lake, but there's a lot of erosion along the roadsides and coming down the hill along the pavement. So some of the stormwater drains have been clogged and collapsed, and they're no longer operational. So we're going to address all that stormwater. We're going to dredge the forebay and rebuild it. We're going to dredge the upper end of that lake and restore that lake.
Runoff from the dog park is also causing a bunch of issues. Since the dog park is located above the lake and is on a slope, debris from runoff comes into the lake and also brings along dog feces, which hurts the quality of life for the animals and the quality of water in the lake. But the improvements won't just help the lake and the people that enjoy the park, but it will also help the staff who is in charge of cleaning the park after a storm.
Easier to take care of the park. It washes a lot of mud into the visitor areas. So like the bridge going across the pond, the pathway around the pond, the picnic shelters, the playground area, a lot of that gets flooded, but then it also, since it's coming all down the hill, it washes a lot of debris into the public areas.
The Leisure Services Department hopes to have the design concept ready to be presented to the Board of Commission as early as fall of this year. Back to you, Cooper.
Thank you, Clay. Affordable housing was back in the spotlight last night at the Athens-Clarke County Commissioners meeting. Grady Newsource reporter Logan Crump shows us how an average Athenian navigates this ongoing housing crisis.
Construction is a daily sight in Athens, with development companies bringing new apartment complexes to the area. However, many Athenians cannot afford to live in these homes.
Now, compared to the national average, Athens rent prices are high, with an 80% more expensive free market rent. With a median income of $43,000, the search for affordable housing is out of reach for many.
Britta Gertz is one of the many Athenians that this impacts. She is a doctoral student at the University of Georgia who has struggled with finding somewhere to live.
But it was kind of a scary process. It was hard to find a place that was available that was in my price range.
But on top of financial feasibility, Britta had run into another issue: housing discrimination.
But I was a single mother at the time, and I found that was a problem. And they would hear like it was me and her, and they would just stop talking to me.
For upcoming renters and homeowners, Britta has this to say:
look early, because it can take a while, especially now.
While Britta did eventually secure housing, the issue of finding an affordable home remains a top concern for many Athenians, as the average rent continues to rise. Logan Crump, Grady Newsource.
We're halfway through National Wildlife Week, observed the first week of April to bring awareness to the wildlife conservation. Grady Newsource reporter Rachel Branning shows us how a local Athens zoo is helping teach the community about how they can protect wildlife.
When you think of Northeast Georgia wildlife, you may think of turkeys, foxes, or bears. And those are exactly the type of animals you can see at the Bear Hollow Zoo. The Bear Hollow Zoo, located in Athens, is an easily accessible resource that brings awareness to an important issue: wildlife conservation. The animals at the Bear Hollow Zoo are non-releasable. They would not be able to survive in the wild, so they live at the zoo and serve as a way to educate the community.
It's great for the community. We really enjoy coming here. We come several times a year. We thought that we would bring the kiddos and let them walk around, get some energy out, see all of the animals.
Adams took her time at the zoo to educate her children on the rehabilitation that goes on for the animals, which is just one step toward conservation. UGA wildlife expert Michael Cole says that zoos bring in people just to see the animals, but they learn while they're there.
A great opportunity to produce information and provide relevant subject matter for the audience to think about. What can I do in my own daily lives to benefit wildlife?
Cole says that education is important, but there are also little things the community can do to help maintain the environment, which in turn protects wildlife.
Any kind of simple things, electricity, water use, recycling, all those things may seem very small in your own daily lives, but if you think about the billions of people that live on the planet, if all of them do a little bit, it actually can go a long ways.
So next time you leave a room, turn off the lights, or try to use less water when you brush your teeth. The animals will thank you. Rachel Branning, Grady Newsource.
Those who can't afford cars in Athens rely on public transportation or bicycles. Grady Newsource reporter Josh Chalevsky shows us how one nonprofit is cutting down the transportation gap in Athens, one donated bike at a time.
Spare parts are organized and bicycles are hung in the shop of Bike Athens. Founded in 1992, the nonprofit has spent over 3 decades working to eliminate transportation barriers in the community. Scott Long started as a volunteer at Bike Athens before becoming its executive director in 2019. To Long, biking not only helps people grow as individuals, but also gives them an opportunity to improve their social and economic situations.
The big picture there is just like, oh, you've really helped someone. You know, when someone is in poverty, the quickest way that you can help pull them out of poverty is to give them access to transportation.
According to the Institute for Transportation and Development Policy, Americans spend 13% of their household incomes on transportation. With the poverty rate at 28.8% in Athens, residents face an even greater challenge in getting from place to place. But through Bike Athens' donation program, Athenians can obtain a bike to help manage the issue. Long says they usually donate 100 to 120 bikes a year.
The people that have to walk that are actually capable of riding a bike, those are the ones that like really seek us out, because they know that just like if I just had a bike, my day could be so much better. It really affects the way people are able to access social services, education, healthcare, just shopping.
But it doesn't just stop at donations. Bike Athens also sells refurbished bikes and accessories and repair bikes daily. Additionally, they lead group joyrides and educational classes and host weekly Fix Your Own Bike nights. Bike Athens client Jeffrey Bussey chooses to ride his bike because it is easy, free transportation. Through Fix Your Own Bike nights, Bussey has not only been able to work on the upkeep of his bike, but has found a space he connects with.
Having a community bike shop like this is like instrumental in one establishing sort of a bike community, and then also just, you know, giving you a place to go and sort through parts and sort of get more involved in bike life.
But a key challenge people like Bussey are still facing stems from road safety.
There's a big gap in safety too that's been growing. The types of deaths and serious injuries that we're seeing a lot of now, things are actually getting a lot worse for people biking and walking relative to the amount of deaths and serious injuries that are occurring for people driving.
For Bike Athens, challenges remain from hesitancies people have towards fixing and riding bikes, as well as finding more volunteers. Long says Bike Athens sits on the Athens in Motion Commission to work on addressing safety and infrastructure issues in the area. With the help of donations, grants, and community partners, Bike Athens continues to strive to leave a mark on the lives of Athenians.
To be able to like work on a bike and then actually see it impact somebody's life is that's huge for me.
Thank you for that impactful story, Josh. Coming up after the break, Grady Newsource reporter Sydney Hood will have an update on the 34 criminal charges that former President Trump is facing.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
My Shiro doesn't always wear a cape, but she always has time for a hug, a smile, for going the extra mile. My Shiro stretches every dollar, puts in long hours, puts others first. But now it's your time, Mom. When you're ready to retire, we want you to be able to enjoy it. It's time to start saving now. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Live in the studio by Grady Newsource reporter Sydney Hood, bringing us the latest update on Donald Trump's arrest.
With what we already know, and former President Donald Trump pleads not guilty after being indicted on 34 felony charges in a Manhattan court. We know this is historic, as no U.S. president in history has ever faced criminal charges. Now, there are a lot of questions on what this means, how it works, and why this matters. Earlier, we spoke with political scientist Dr. Audrey Haynes to find the answers.
The theories about why New York went ahead and brought this indictment was that they felt that, one, it was necessary, two, no one's above the law, and they were going to do that because they felt like they had a case.
But this is just one of several legal challenges bearing down on him, raising the question of, could what happened in New York forecast what Georgians could expect if he's indicted in Fulton County for alleged election interference? Looking at things in Georgia here, it's important to note that there are no charges but a special grand jury investigation. This all stemmed from the aftermath of the 2020 election and Trump's phone call with Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger.
The things that he's done is he's taking all the heat. He opened up, one might say, the floodgates. So he's the first to make that move. And it potentially gives Fani Willis a bit more cover.
More people recognize the Georgia case. It's not quite as complex as New York. She says it's almost like A plus B equals C compared to the complex math and financial issues in New York. In terms of a timeline, or if things will potentially speed up the process of investigating the alleged election interference, Dr. Haynes says it's not as simple as making a decision overnight.
There's a lot of hoops that have to be gone through in the court system, in the judicial system, period. There is a process that has to be followed, and the New York process could take as long as 6 months.
And moving forward, like all court cases, this is the time when lawyers get to work. Dr. Haynes says if found guilty of the charges, he could face up to 4 years in prison. She also adds Trump is allowed to run for president despite facing criminal charges in New York. Back to you, Cooper.
Thank you, Sydney. An attempt by state lawmakers to control college tuition costs has failed. House Bill 319 would have barred the university system of Georgia from raising tuition by more than 3% without the legislature's approval. For more on that, we go to Grady Newsource reporter Connor Hendricks live in the newsroom. Connor?
That's right, Cooper. The cost of college continues to rise nationwide, but not here in Georgia. In fact, many Georgia students actually saw their tuition bill decrease this year after the USG eliminated the special institutional fee. Students could save even more if Governor Kemp signs the budget passed by state lawmakers. The Hope Scholarship would expand to 100% of tuition, saving the average student $444 a year. So why did the legislature attempt to cap tuition costs? Political analyst Brian Robinson says one reason, it's a message voters like to hear on the campaign trail.
So in reality, it's not as powerful of a message as it might be in another state, because Georgians have long become a bit immune to the pain of tuition increases because they haven't had to pay it.
Robinson says Kemp likely vetoed the bill because it takes authority from his office and places it in the legislature. Live in the newsroom, Connor Hendricks, Grady Newsource.
Thank you for that, Connor. Up next, we're going to go over to Julianna Washburn with the weather. Jules, how's the weather looking today?
I'm Julianna Washburn with the weather. It is the hottest day of the year so far here in Athens, so just walking outside could make you break out in a sweat. But the hot weather we felt all day today won't continue throughout the rest of the week. We'll talk about why after the break.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
You're home before sunrise, on top of the house, the kids, and our future. The smell of your cooking is our alarm clock. My Shiro's day is never done. So let's start saving a little more now so we can feel prepared for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give us the personalized tips we need so we can live our lives to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Julie was always a voracious reader. She carried 2 novels on an airplane because she'd read one on a 3-4 hour ride. And at some point, I began to notice that she would read a page and couldn't remember what she had just read, and she'd have to go back and read it again.
I don't remember much these days after I read, but less does for me, and I love it.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. Alright, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight. Both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand trying to text somebody back. Because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
Welcome back. Enjoy that hot weather we talked about earlier because it isn't going to last long. There is a lot of rain coming this week. Right now we have a high of 88 and a low of 66, but moving into Thursday, we have thunderstorms coming in with a high of 84 and a low of 63. These thunderstorms and heavy rain are going to continue into Friday. We're going to have a high of 72 and a low of 48, and that heavy rain is even going to go into Saturday with a high of 54 and a low of 44. So it's going to cool down a lot too. And if you're going to choose a day to stay inside, it might be Saturday because of that rain and cool weather. Moving into Sunday, we're hoping that rain will clear up just a little bit if you're traveling for Easter Sunday or you're coming back from Augusta with the Masters. Be sure to keep caution and drive safe, but that rain might clear up a little bit. We're going to see a high of 59 and a low of 45 that day. Now, as we can tell by showers, spring is in full swing, and that means so is pollen season. A lot of us feel this outside with the postnasal drip and the itchy eyes, but why are we feeling the effect so strongly now? Well, UGA professor John Knox says that spring came a few weeks earlier than expected this year, which means pollen came earlier too. This is what he said about pollen season.
Welcome to the South. We love our flowers, we love our trees, and this is just the downside of it.
Knox said to protect yourself from the pollen, you can try wearing a mask and using nasal spray. And according to the Mayo Clinic, you should take outside clothes off after returning inside. They say that the best time to go outside and avoid pollen is after a good rain. So the next couple of rainy days should really help with that. And Knox says that because spring came so early, things should look very green at the Masters. Speaking of the Masters, Hannah, doesn't the tournament start today?
That's right, Jules. The par 3 tournament teed off earlier today, signaling the beginning of the Masters tournament. I'll have more on the Masters and an update on UGA athletics right after the break.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
You know, a lot of people say, when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. For her to see her father celebrate his graduation, it's the best feeling in the world. I can't lie and say it was easy. But sometimes you just have to stop everything and take it in. I looked at everything in a different light. And I realized it started with me going back and getting my high school diploma.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right. Because a few hours ago in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
There is a road laid out for me.
First night here, but Amy seems cool.
Leading down to the river. I am blind, but I need not see.
What do you think?
I know this road is there for me. If I'm really free. take me down to the river and walk.
Hi everyone, I'm Hannah Nelson, and here's your Grady Newsource Sports. On Tuesday night, Georgia baseball defeated the Kennesaw State Owls 6-4, with all runs being scored in the first and second innings. Also on Tuesday, the men's golf team competed at the final round of the Calusa Cup in Naples, Florida, and finished in 5th place with a score of 21 over par. Now, we don't have any sports events today, but fret not, sports fans, because we have a jam-packed schedule moving into the weekend. Track and Field will be holding the Spec Town and Torrin Lawrence Invitational Thursday and Friday here in Athens, and men's and women's tennis will have 2 matches this week. Both play South Carolina on Friday and Florida on Sunday. Baseball and softball have series this weekend. Softball will be in Fayetteville playing the Arkansas Razorbacks from Thursday to Saturday, and baseball will be at home facing Kentucky from Friday to Sunday. And speaking of baseball, the Atlanta Braves have their home opener this Thursday as they open up a 4-game series against the San Diego Padres. And it's the first week of April, which means it's time for a tradition unlike any other, the Masters Golf Tournament. The 87th edition of the tournament kicked off today with the annual Par 3 tournament. Fun fact, no one has won the Par 3 tournament and the Masters tournament in the same year. The first round will kick off Thursday morning at 8:15 with tee shots from honorary starters Tom Watson, Jack Nicklaus, and Gary Player. While perennial favorites like Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson are vying for the title, there are 8 former UGA golfers, most notably 2-time champion Bubba Watson, also in the hunt for the iconic green jacket. And that does it for your Grady Newsource Sports. I'm Hannah Nelson.
Thanks for that sports update, Hannah. We'll be back with information about UGA's yearly spring scrimmage game.
I'm playing with these new face filters.
Okay, you know what? Yep, that's mine. I'm gonna need that back. No. Kevin!
The Georgia Bulldogs are gearing up for the GDAY game of 2023. This spring football game is coming up on Saturday, April 15th. General admission tickets went on sale today at $5 a ticket, and students who requested a ticket were notified today if they got one. GDAY kickoff is set for 4 p.m. And that's all we have for tonight. Thank you for joining us.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far. I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna. Thank you.
Study, please.
I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
You're home before sunrise. On top of the house, the kids, and our future. The smell of your cooking is our alarm clock. My Shiro's day is never done. So let's start saving a little more now so we can feel prepared for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give us the personalized tips we need so we can live our lives to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Let's see. All right. Hey, Professor V, I have no idea what you're seeing there. We'll figure that out when I get back in there. So the problem with
Jennifer.
Oh, that'll work. The problem with today's show, the biggest issue we had was time. Olivia slotted several people at like a minute, and stuff came in at 1:40, or she slotted somebody at 2 minutes, and it was 3:30, and so that's unfortunately that's why a lot of stuff got floated today and made for a far more chaotic show inside the control room. So I'm going to turn it over and go in the control room and try to figure out what's going on in there, because that's not a good look. So here's Olivia.
Well, hello. Yes, like Tom said, definitely our number one struggle today was just timing. We had a lot of different elements going on, like a lot of different kind of live shots, just sort of playing around with a lot of different things, which overall I feel like the show came together really well. Tech team did a great job, even with everything that was being just so chaotic. But yeah, I think it really just came down to timing. So sorry to everyone whose package I had to flow. Yeah, being producer is a challenge for sure. But overall, I think it was a solid show. It was definitely just timing was our biggest issue today.
Yeah, can I chime in? So Olivia, I wish you had talked to me. Because I could have helped you with a lot of things, and there was one awkward moment with the weather tosses out. The toss to break didn't work, the way you had it. I could have possibly caught that. I caught something, and the B block was very strange. The anchor has to be the thread introducing things. You had Sydney self-introducing and then going to Connor, and just kind of the anchor does not appear for two main stories, which are the whole B block. And so those things I caught in the last moment, and I managed to slack you, and you repaired them. But, it's important to talk to me, even though I'm not in the newsroom today, unfortunately. I tried to slack you and to guide you through these things, but there were a few moments that I could have helped you with. But overall, you did a very ambitious show, and I liked your show flow as I slacked you. You did a great job with judging what is your top story and putting the pieces together. You've got good news sense, and I'm really, really impressed with that. Just the treatment and the presentation and how the things show up on air, those were the things that I could have helped you a little bit more had we gone through the rundown together. But that's okay. That's water under the bridge. You did impress me with your news sense and how you structured your show and how you made the choice of stories. That was really impressive. And I wish I could have been there in the newsroom.
I know.
Because I could have just insisted that you listen to me. So,
yeah.
Anyway, I'm just being, picky. As I said, you have the brain of a producer, and the sense of a producer, which is wonderful.
Thank you.
I have a few. I would love to hear from you guys. I like the show. I am always on camera. Hannah, you were on camera and you realized it, and you were like, okay, and you did well. I loved your spirited. You were just in the best of spirits today, and it was just infectious the way you were presenting the sports. And I thought that Jules tossing to you, that was a wonderful way for the two of you to interact, even though the tease to weather was awkward. We didn't need to have Jules there. Cooper should have handled that. Cooper was a trooper. There were some, I could tell there were some curveballs there, and you handled them well. And you had a good, confident presentation. You led us through the show in a confident manner, in a pleasant way. And I really liked what you did. And I guess I started upside down. We had a lot of different ways of presenting information, which I like. Olivia was really ambitious, and you guys were really ambitious, even though we had one live shot outside in the field, which I'm very happy that Clay did. I have some notes here on the live shots, which were all wonderful, and there were just a few things that were a little awkward that I think it won't take a big stretch. All of them sort of had introductions without visuals to sound bites that were too long. So including Clay, who was like impressive. I don't know if he was reading a prompter or something, but he seemed to be ad-libbing. I think I didn't realize when I was approving his script that all that script before the soundbite, the first soundbite, was him on camera. There were no visuals, so I thought that his could have worked as a live shot where he gives us the latest and shows us where he is and points a little bit more and interacts more with his environment. And then tosses to a mini donut with the two sound bites and some B-roll. There could have been some B-roll. That would have been more interesting and dynamic. But again, you did a great job, Clay, and volunteering to do that live shot. And I would be very interested to find out about your experience out there in the field and how it felt to you. And
Clay's
some
not
of the,
here. Yeah, Clay's not here.
Oh, he's not here. So I'm talking to myself. It's okay. Thank you for letting me know. So I'll talk to him. Yeah, he was at a live shot. But I noticed that also with Sydney, I told her to cut down on her sound bites because there were too many sound bites with no B-roll, no visuals. And Sydney, you were confident, but I think you were a little overly confident in the way you presented. It was wonderful. It was you again, but I thought, I think you were nervous because it wasn't my Sydney kind of very comfortable, who sort of owns the screen. And you didn't interact with those visuals you were showing us. And they were, I would have done that as a mini donut also and just kind of recorded it beforehand because there were too many moving parts. That's always my concern on live air. And one soundbite didn't seem to play. And there was a little too much on camera without interacting with specific elements that you were showing. I thought it would have been smoother had you pre-recorded that because there was a lot going on for you to do live on air and for the technical team to make the switches and for viewers to follow through a very complex story. And it could have been a little shorter, but you did a great job. This was not easy, and you had you picked some good sound bites as usual. You did a great job. Don't worry about it. I'm just nitpicking and just thinking of how, since we tried so many different ways of doing live, what worked and what we can do better, which is definitely having shorter introductions to the sound bites and less is more when it comes to such treatment of content. Also the same with Connor. His introduction to the first soundbite was a little too long with no visuals. I liked the short tag that was very good, dynamic, back to you. Was a very interesting story. So I like that. But again, I think the intros we should consider in the future, the intros and things that do not have visuals to be shorter and sharper and to the point. And less is more when it comes to that. That was for the weather. I told you. Yeah. And let me see if I have a few more. And then I want to hear from you guys, your experience. Logan, I liked the piece. It was a nice stand-up, but I wish the character, you were able to get her to do a little bit more in her office so that you could have some more dynamic B-roll. But I like the stand-up. I like that you managed sort of to make it more interesting. You were struggling in the morning, and I see you made an effort to make it more interesting, and maybe just having that character always talking to them ahead of time, explaining why it's so important for them to be doing what they usually do during the day, so that you can capture more of who they are on camera and have more B-roll. Rachel, the wildlife, the zoo as an anecdotal example. Also, both of you, Logan and Rachel, I'm really happy that you had characters, and that really makes a story interesting. Josh, well done on the solution story. Of course, I have some suggestions, but I really liked the B-roll was nice. You had all the right sources. They were interesting. You did a good job putting it together, writing it in a really conversational manner. Everything was just wonderful, but I didn't see a stand-up. Did I miss a stand-up? But you could have done a stand-up, and that would have been wonderful. Did you want to say something? Or should I finish up and let you guys talk to me about, how you experienced it? I experienced it from afar. What I would have you guys in the future do when you're doing solution stories, remember it's about how it works. So where I like that you had the bikes and how they were repairing. Maybe you could have talked to the guy, the provider, while he was repairing a bike. That would have been also interesting. The education classes, you could have attended one of them, and that would have been interesting B-roll. And a stand-up with Wonderful You could have been wonderful. But otherwise, I thought you did a great job. This is just nitpicking, and I'm impressed with what you came up with. And Jules' wonderful presentation. You were just like you owned that screen, and you were moving around, and you never hit a temperature. You were natural, and you naturally pointed to the temperatures and what you were talking about. You just it was really very engaging, and keep more of that. You did a great job, and you and Hannah had that good interaction. Very, very nicely done, both of you. Very spirited, brought a lot. And Cooper also was a trooper, and she brought a lot. The pre-show tease was also very well done. And I will zip it, and I want to hear from you guys. How was it in the newsroom today? And oh yeah, with Olivia W. Again, you get the prize for being so well prepared and doing that stand up and having Link. I like how you framed her, what you did with her. We didn't see Karina Gallagher. That would have been interesting to see her. And there was a soundbite in the beginning where we didn't see anybody. I don't know if I missed it or not, but you did a great job, and that was just an excellent way for somebody doing quick turn to go and have the foresight to cover an event that's really important like that. So I really, really liked it. And that's what I have, guys. Really proud of you, how the show came together and all the things that you tried. And it was a good show. It was a strong show. So I want to pass the mic around. I want to hear from you guys.
Hey.
up, V?
Oh, is that you, Clay? You're back there?
I'm here. Can you see me on this one? Wait. There.
Yeah, I can see I was talking to you, but I was told that I was talking to you.
Yeah. Me and Charles were in the car jamming, and I had to drop him off at Ramsey. So, yeah, live shot. Did I do all right, everyone? All right.
You did great. I had some, what I thought was that you could have mini packaged that in like a donut.
Definitely.
Because I don't know if you were reading or not, you were very impressive, but at times you were halting because there was so much you had to tell us. And I was talking, everybody had introductions without visuals that were a little too long leading into their sound bites. It wasn't just you. So I made a point of, us talking about that so that we can avoid that next time, because I love the fact that all of you did lives from different positions, but I thought that the introductions to the sound bites were a little too long, and when you sort of lose the viewer, and it's hard for you also to do so much ad-libbing, but you did a great job. You were there, you were live, you had interesting sources. I just thought maybe if you had mini packaged that, like a mini donut, that you could have you could have referenced a little bit more where you were, and that little thing, the forebay, was it like behind you? You could have sort of explained it and then tossed your mini donut where you could have sort of distilled a little bit more what you had to say with the two sound bites, came out of it, live tagged it with something, the latest around you. And that would have, looking forward, we learned something. But I'm really proud of you for trying that, for doing that, and getting to sources and being proactive. So how was it for you? Anything you learned today doing live? And
well, it was hot. That was one thing.
Yeah.
No, it was good. It was just, I went blank a couple times, spoke too fast at times, I believe. But the practice, I think, helped. It was good, though. But it was a lot of information, so I do agree with you. A mini package or even a full package would have worked as well. But, I was glad to get a live shot in.
Yes, you made it, and you were spirited, you were natural. I wish that you could have, just interacted more with your environment. So think about that going forward, that should be your next thing. But you did a great job, and this is good experience here, in the sandbox, and I'm glad that you attempted it. Was that your first live shot outside? I can't remember. I think you did another one.
No, that was the first only live shot, outside or inside. So, yeah. But thank you, V, very much.
All right. Well, thank you for doing it and having something for your portfolio.
Yeah.
Anybody else wants to share an adventure today? Oh, before I forget, Sydney, tell everybody how you did that Zoom in the computer thing. That was so cool.
Okay, so that was just simple Canva put together because Dr. Haynes, I don't know if y'all noticed, her face was really low on the screen, and I just have to give a shout out to her first of all for agreeing to speak with me on such short notice. I interrupted her gardening time, so that was why she had the camera down that low, but when you put the lower third there, it kind of covers up their face, and plus it's just kind of awkward like having like that full screen there because you can kind of see up their nostrils, so I kind of wanted to I wanted to make her look good, so I went to Canva and just was kind of brainstorming, okay, how can I make this look appealing? How can I make it look eye candy? So just, I don't know, just something in my mind clicked, and I was like, let me just because I was going to video it on my computer screen, like my actual laptop, but it's super dirty and has fingerprints all over it, so I was like, let me just get a computer off of Canva and just weasel with it a little bit and like fit it into the screen, and voila, short and simple.
I love it. Just tell everybody how short and simple it is, because Josh could have done that as well because he had too much headroom in his Zoom. And it's, usually it's kind of hard to tell people, they're doing you a favor. But usually if you can just kind of talk to them and explain to them why it's so important for them to adjust the camera so that they have less headroom, and they don't have a lower third, on their mouth or whatever. But I love that look. It was so clean and simple, professional. So if you can train other people to do that, that'll be wonderful. And I want to see how you did it.
Happy to show everyone.
Wonderful. Yeah, I really, really like that. And kudos to you for doing that. A lot of you did some interesting things today. Some of them didn't work out that well, but I'm so happy you tried so many different ways of presenting information. And a lot of it worked, and some of it we can just learn and do things a little differently next time. But I'm really, really proud of how this show came together. And sorry I interrupted. Who was going to share an adventure?
Well, I'm going to be 100% honest. This was the day I was most looking forward to because it was sports, and sports is like my favorite thing in the world. And I think the one thing I loved about the most is my piece on Masters. Like, I knew a week in advance I was going to talk about the Masters. Like, I just knew. And I think my favorite part of it was I peppered in, like, those little Masters terms. My favorite was I introduced it as a tradition unlike any... a tradition like any other, which is unlike any other, which is what they use on CBS when they introduce the Masters, is a tradition unlike any other. And I don't know, I just felt so comfortable and confident because I knew my stuff. Like, I knew my sports. Like, I knew it.
And it showed. And that's, again, the point that I've been making, guys, sharing with you. The way I have been successful is what Hannah says. I knew my stuff. And that's the only way you can be successful. That's why I'm so, that's why I keep pushing you and pressuring you to read, to know, and to be able to put things in context. Because again, like Olivia G., her news sense comes from, I believe, I may be wrong, but she knows a lot. And so when you need to know a lot in general and follow the news to make the right decision and to say, Melissa Link, this is news. Because she's been following, this is important, she knows people have been curious about this. And so there's no way you can be successful and confident on air unless you know your stuff, unless you're constantly following. And like, I'm still a news junkie, I still collect information like there's no tomorrow. And it just sticks in the back of my mind, and somehow it comes to me, no matter what, in breaking news situations. And so far, touch wood, I've lived a lot of breaking news with facts that have come to my mind, no time to check them. And I don't think I've made a mistake. Maybe something small that nobody noticed, but that's the only way, what Hannah is saying, that's the only way to be confident on air, is to really know your stuff and be yourself. So good point.
Yes. I think today everyone definitely came with really different ideas, really interesting ideas. Sydney's idea about doing the live in the newsroom was completely on her, and she was like coming to me like, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? And we sort of just brainstormed, so that worked out really well. Maddie helped me out a lot today as well. But yeah, I think overall it was a collective effort. Everyone definitely did a great job. So.
Yeah, Maddie, I liked your copy editing and some of the leads that you suggested. I suggested that people keep those leads. You did a great job with copy editing. I was looking at your notes, so thank you for that. That helped me out a lot. So, anybody else? What time is it? We've got a little more time. If anybody wants to share something else they learned.
Anyone? You want to say something? Just something. What was your favorite part of today?
My favorite part of today? I'm not really sure if I have a favorite part. I had a lot of fun behind the anchor desk. I did get put on the spot at one point when I was having to toss to Jules for the weather. Something had gotten floated, and then it just came straight to me, and I was like, oh boy. So I just had to ad-lib real quick on my feet. I've never had to do that before, so that was new and fun for me. But yeah, hopefully I didn't talk too fast, but other than that.
Now, you did a great job in Cooper. You have practice ad-libbed with me. You really impressed me. Remember in training?
Oh, wait, you're right, I did.
And we played together, you know. I pushed you and you ad-libbed. And I'm glad this probably came in handy.
It all paid off. It's coming full circle.
But I'll never forget, you impressed me so much when we played ad-libbing. And you look beautiful. I have a small screen here, but you look beautiful. You look confident, and you did a great job. And so I'm really proud of all of you. Actually, we didn't see yours, right? Yours got floated, the Passover thing. Yeah, I'm so sorry, because you worked hard on that one as well. And I'm sorry that I hope that we can put a lot of those pieces on social media, where we have a big audience, even bigger than broadcast. So you could consider that one. Destiny could consider that. Does Destiny want to say something, or should we call it a day?
She said call it a day.
All right, guys, call it a day. You deserve it. Have some rest, and we will be back on Monday, when I hope that I can join you.